Hey, this is Chris. Now in this video I'm going to be talking about the four most common ways to gift money or assets to people in Australia. And gifting money or assets is quite common, particularly with parents or grandparents who want to share in the hard work they've done over their lifetimes with their kids or grandkids, or give them a bit of a money lesson and help set them up for their life. The first and most common way of gifting money or assets in Australia is just gifting cash, not surprisingly. I think a lot of Aussies will remember getting a gift of cash from someone in their family at some point in their life. I mean, my most memorable experience was every Christmas and birthday, I got a big red $20 note from my pop. And that money, I always had to make a decision. Was I going to go spend it or was I going to go and save it? And being a pretty frugal person, I usually ended up popping it in my Dolomites bank account and seeing the money stack up over time. So it was a great way for him to teach his grandkids and great-grandkids about the benefits of compounding and saving. The next most common way of actually gifting investments or money for people is actually gifting cars. Not surprisingly, a lot of parents and grandparents as well often give their cars down to their kids, especially older cars. It gives often parents a good opportunity and excuse to upgrade. I know for my parents, they've upgraded a few times by passing cars down to my siblings. Actually, my first car came from my grandma and grandpa, who had a beautiful old Holden Barina, which they had. I think it was a 1990 Holden Barina, which they gifted to me when I started university. So I had a way of driving in and out of uni each day. I got good use out of it for a few years, and then in the end I tried to sell it. Absolutely no one wanted to buy it, so I sold it for scrap metal. I think I got $200 for it in the end, but really helpful gift that helped me get to uni every day. The third most common is then shares. So, shares, Australia has very high share ownership. One of the highest in the world, if not the highest in the world. So it's not surprising that shares often get passed down to family members. Now you can set up new share accounts, or for the example of StockSpot, set up a new diversified portfolio for kids and grandkids these days pretty easily. In the past, also gifting existing shares was quite common, although there are often tax complexities there. So if you are gifting shares that you have owned for a while, you need to be conscious around capital gains tax, because it's usually considered a capital event passing on shares to someone else, and so you'll have to pay capital gains tax when that's passed on, and then the person who's inheriting those shares will have to set the cost base as of the day they're inheriting it. So shares is another common one. And then finally, property. So again, a very generous gift that some people get from their parents is either property in the form of a house deposit or an actual physical property. Again, if you actually are passing on a property to someone, you need to be aware of all the tax implications. But some people are fortunate enough to be able to set up their kids and grandkids with a property as well. And they're the four most common ways of passing on money and investments in Australia.